Kemi wants to do this listening session over the next month to listen to members, listen to the party, really get to grips exactly why we went wrong and actually how we can fix it. Because we also know that Labour's majority, although big, is very, very thin. And the Conservatives can definitely win the next general election, but only if you get the analysis right, only by uniting, and only by delivering policies that the British public want.
Kemi Badenoch is the latest to launch her bid for the Tory leadership. In the Times today, she claims that Conservative values can transform lives. The Shadow Housing Secretary has blamed Tory infighting over lockdown restrictions and house building for the loss of their majority and said it was not enough for her leadership rivals to call for unity to win. Andrew Bowie, Shadow Veterans Minister and Energy Minister, has backed Ms Badenoch. He told Times Radio's Breakfast his party needs to decide what it stands for.
The Conservative Party is a very broad church. We welcome and indeed we enjoy debate and discussion about policy, about direction. But of course we've got to unify under the next leader. But there's no point in unifying for unity's sake. We need to know what we're unifying under and what we stand for. And that's what Kemi said this morning. That's what we're going to spend the summer investigating, have a good conversation about, as I said.
Well, that was Andrew Bowie speaking earlier. Let's talk to Alexander Stafford. He's a former Conservative MP and former Parliamentary Private Secretary to Kemi Badenoch and supporting her in the leadership contest. Good afternoon, Alexander.
Good afternoon.
Well, clearly you worked pretty closely with Kemi Badenoch when you were in Parliament. Why do you think that she is now the best person to take your party out of the doldrums that it's currently in?
Well, thank you. Well, I've seen at firsthand how hard she works, how she really gets to grip with briefs, and also how she can bring people with her. And I think one of the key things is we had all this monumental defeat last month. And I think really we're pleased to hear that Kemi wants to do this listening session over the next month to listen to members, listen to the party, really get to grips exactly why we went wrong and actually how we can fix it. Because we also know that Labour's majority, although big, is very, very thin. And the Conservatives can definitely win the next general election, but only if you get the analysis right, only by uniting, and only by delivering policies that the British public want.
As you will know, Alexander, when it comes to these leadership contests, it is character and style that matters as well as values, isn't it? And Kemi Badenoch, I don't think anyone would deny, is a pretty combative figure. Now, some will say that as you're going to be in opposition for the next 5 years, that is what you need. But isn't there a danger, and she already seems to be starting out on this course with her article today, that she's just going to be too combative with her rivals within the Conservative Party, and that in itself will be pretty destructive?
Well, I don't see that at all. Like working closely with her, she's a very warm, giving, listening person, and that's really what I think is going to come out over the next couple of months. But what she does have is very clear views, very strong conservative values, and that is what we want. I think too long on the last government, we were sort of talking right, but actually leaning left and acting left. We actually want somebody who does what they say, and I very much believe Kemi is that person and has that sort of genuine honesty. I think too long we were talking a good talk, but were we actually delivering on conservative values? No, we weren't. And that's one of the many reasons why we lost the election. Whereas I think with Kemi, what you see is what you get. She genuinely believes these things. She genuinely is passionate about conservatism, the capitalism, the free market, liberty, all the things which all conservatives should adhere to. I actually think that's quite refreshing. A politician who actually says and does what they mean.
But you talked about her as a warm and listening person. I mean, she is prepared to take on a fight, isn't she? I mean, look at the spat that she's had with Suella Braverman, who has now pulled out of the contest. I mean, do you think it's a good thing that Suella Braverman has decided not to stand?
Well, I think Suella clearly didn't have the support in the parliamentary party. Fundamentally, you need to have at least 10 MPs, including yourselves, to be able to stand. Clearly, Suella did not have it. I think the majority of Suella's initial backers last time are now backing Robert Jenrick, so she couldn't even keep her a team together. I think we've got quite a broad church of candidates, 6 of them declared or so, for all wings of the Conservative Party. And I think over the next couple of months, we're going to have a properly good debate. But one thing I really don't like is in the blue on blue conservative attacks. We can all have a good debate, a good challenge without attacking each other. And in 2022, with the Liz Truss versus Rishi Sunak contest, I think there was too much of people attacking each other, briefing in the media. And that's something which we definitely want to avoid this time.
But
And
it's
actually bring unity to the
inevitable, isn't
party.
it, Alexander? I mean, you've got months and months of this contest. And as you know, those people who are vying for the top job in the party are going to have to define themselves against their rivals. The idea that you can have this contest going on for nearly 4 months, and you're not going to have any blue on blue arguments. I mean, it's just not going to happen, is it?
Well, I think you can have a healthy debate, and we need to have that healthy debate about policies, ideas, structures, and everything about the party without having personalised attacks, briefings in the paper. Because I think we need to have that open discussion. I think it's good we're having a long competition because the next general election is not going to be for 4 or 5 years. As a party, we have been heavily defeated. We need to recover. We need to find ourselves. We need to define what we're standing for. And we should make sure we have as many members as possible join the conversation. And that's why I think it's really good that Kemi is going to spend the summer having those conversations, speaking to members, really getting to grips with what went wrong and listening to people. Because if you don't listen to our members, if you don't listen to the party, we don't listen to the public, we'll never win again. And that is so essential that we listen to the public rather than just talk at them.
Well, I mean, we don't have a lot of time left, but just briefly, you lost your seat in Rother Valley. I mean, what did people tell you was wrong with your party?
Oh, I was one of the smaller swings against Conservative country. I lost by 2%. I only lost by 900 votes. But what's clearly at Haitian was reform. People were sick and tired of us talking good talk about immigration, law and order. But when it came to the policies and principles that mattered, we weren't delivering. And I think what the next leader, and I think Kemi will do that, needs to actually lean into that, say we're going to deliver and actually have a clear and credible plan to deliver on these issues. So we can't lose any more votes to the likes of reform.
Alexander Stafford, former Conservative MP, former parliamentary private secretary to Kemi Badenoch. Really good to talk to you. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you very much.
Lots of you getting in touch on this. Dominic says, can we please have some equivalent of a swear jar for MPs who say their party is a broad church? We've also had Jay getting in touch. Not impressed with Kemi Badenoch's article, saying, does she seriously believe that pathetic synopsis of what's wrong with the Tories would be quicker to say what's right? Dave wondered if Alexander was reading from a script, not as far as I could see. And on the question of what Rachel Reeves is coming out with this afternoon, Stuart says, isn't part of the issue here that we've had 14 years of the Tories making policy up in the news, and now we've forgotten what it's like to have someone do the job properly and follow their processes?
Thank you. First, I'd like to thank all of the staff, the volunteers, the tellers, the police, and all the candidates for playing their part in upholding our precious democracy. Second, I want to thank all the members of the North West Essex Conservative Association, all of my supporters, for all your hard work during the campaign, and of course the voters of North West Essex for returning me to Parliament. It is the greatest honour of my life to represent you, and I will do so with renewed vigour and energy, as we all must do now, certainly in my party, given what we and the country face. But finally, I want to thank my husband Hamish, my best friend, who has been at my side through everything, every step of the way. Thank you.